Normal tour is 3 years, and the lake, since 2006, has been in active failure, as classified by the Corps, one of 6 structures in their control in the nation, and that even occurs way less than 12 feet.
All right, that was 15 seconds. Thank you. And now we're going to go to agency government reports next on the agenda. We'll start with Martin County. Thank you, Diane. Please.
Wait. I got it, Diane.
Okay. She'll get it.
I got it somewhere. I had it all. Okay, Diane. There it is.
Okay. So, here to give you your update today. This is what the current lake level is. We're at 11.26 feet. So that's pretty good for this time of year. Lots of storage.
And talk about it.
Okay, sorry.
There you go. Fantastic. Right up.
All right, we're at 11.26 feet. Good amount of storage. Flows coming into the lake are 17 CFS and 0 going out. You all kind of see this. This is where we're currently at. We're tracking the kind of a beneficial use line at this point in time. Let's hope that we stay that way or just close so we don't have any flows coming into us. This is here. There's a website that you can all go to and see this on a daily basis. So you can see where the flows are, what's going in the system, what's happening in the system, what's going south, where water's being moved. So this is something that John and I look at on a daily basis, and even on weekends.
Is
Over
that
the
with
past,
or without wine?
with one, definitely. So this is coastal Martin County. You can see we barely have any rain in the past 7 days. This is western Martin County, maybe up to, so we had 0.05 up to almost an inch of rain in our area in the past 7 days, so not a lot of rain. We did have a false positive last week at Lake Park. The next sampling date they went out, it was okay. So they sample on Monday, so we will probably have the numbers, should have the numbers by the end of the day today for what the impaired pockets levels are in the river. As you can see, our salinities are in the good range. They're right here, the median, so in that 12 to 20 range is where we like to be. But you can see our temperatures are going up. It's been pretty hot, and temperatures are really spiking up here. We're hoping not to have any local homegrown algae blooms. So if you do, though, be sure to call myself or John, let us know if you see anything out there. We haven't had any reports anywhere except for there being algae outage at S308 structure. That's it. And then just these are some project updates. We have a Ripple project, which is Old Palm, in the Old Palm City area. It's a 4th stormwater treatment area project that we're putting in. We got a $429,000 grant, and we should be doing construction soon on that. You should see there's improvements underway at River Cove. And if you've been on Dixie Highway, you've seen the Willoughby Creek STA, the construction is underway. Just at Beach Causeway East, those improvements to that facility are going to be begin shortly. And we're also partnering with American Marine University and NOAA to do a pilot project demonstration out of S308 structure to kill blue-green algae. So we're in the kind of design phases of putting that plan together, and hopefully in 4 to 6 weeks we'll be getting some results. Thanks.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. Next up was the South Florida Water Management District. Jackie Turlip couldn't be with us today. She's traveling, but she did give us a report. I'll read real quickly. The Water Management District appointed as Chief Officer of Resiliency position that's being posted. Last business meeting, they denied a Sunbreak Farms permit for biosolid spreading due to possible leakage in the IRL. They had presentations last business meeting from one of their staffs and others on climate change and sea level rise, and including the Corps of Engineers, talking about the structures and doing that. They hadn't talked about that in a long time, but they are addressing how that's going to affect these outflows and tidal structures at these structures. They voted to support the old Tamiami Trail removal and allowing water to flow south. It was later announced that 40 million from the state and 60 million from US DOT was there to lift 2 sections of the Tamiami Trail. Number 6, the governing board was allowed to extend the leases on some of the St. Lucie County model airplane places, which are up here in the C-23, 24 basin areas for dispersed water management projects. They reviewed the budget, earmarked 417 million was earmarked for Everglades projects. The governing board voted to support staff and eminent domain for remaining land acquisition in the South Dade hydrological improvements area. They took some action on building some stormwater treatment areas in the EA Reservoir. You've heard about the EA Reservoir project. The district's going to lead some of that effort to do the stormwater treatment areas. And they continue to assist the Corps in the ecology of lake ecology and minimize the risk for discharges during the summer months. They're holding workshops July 25th, 26th, and 27th for new biosolids regulation. DEP is going to be holding those, and the district's going to participate. And I gave out a paper that's being published about that. We're also talking about being there at the next meeting, which is coming up. What's that?
I just read that this body has decided to support the new resolution, or a resolution to support the new Brian Mast bill, and I don't remember a vote or a discussion.
We didn't have.
I'm
a
sorry,
vote
I put
or
it up too
discussion.
soon.
We haven't had a vote or discussion.
Okay, but that's not what that said, and that's what I was like, okay, I'm good.
Sorry.
We're not to that point in the agenda. This is about the workshop coming up for the next meeting. The next workshop meeting is July 10th, which will focus on the northern estuaries, which means that's all about us and water quality. So we're saying here that if you want to carpool, be over at let's say Crackerville, everybody could meet there, 11:45 or so, right, Barbara?
Sure. Just
And you
call
wanna
me.
carpool down to the workshop, that'll start at 1 o'clock, go from 1 to about 4. I'll be there, I've been asked to be a part of the panel. And then the next day, July 11th, is their next business meeting for the Water Management District. So that's pretty much the Water Management District update. State and federal agencies and state budget will, Paul Gray wasn't able to be with us, but Doug Caston from Florida Audubon's here. Doug, did you want to say anything about any updates or from the agencies, update side?
Well, not from the agencies, but, yeah, thanks, Mark. I think Lieutenant Colonel Reynolds said pretty much what I was gonna cover about the lake. But I was out on the lake with Paul on Tuesday, and you can see the vegetation coming back. The lake is in, recovery mode, and the level being down around 11 feet is what's really helping to make the difference. The sunlight can get through, the plants can germinate, and they can grow. The point I want to make is that we've lost about 40,000 acres of submerged vegetation, which helps to filter the water and clean it, holds in the nutrients, provides habitat for fish, which is important to me, I love fish. And if you think about that in context, right, the STA for the reservoir that's being planned south of the lake is 6,500 acres, I believe. So when you think about 40,000 acres of vegetation, free STA, essentially, it's really important for that vegetation to take, and that's happening. We saw it out on the lake on Tuesday. So the bad news is there is some algae on the lake, and there are some areas where the vegetation really hasn't made a comeback. I don't think that's gonna happen this year. Maybe it'll have a chance to catch next year, but right now, there are some large areas that just didn't get enough sunlight for those seeds to germinate. But there is a lot of activity out on the lake. There's a lot of vegetation that's sprouting. And if the lake levels don't go up too high too fast, it'll become stronger, taller, more resilient. It'll last through, hopefully, the wet season. So,
Excellent, thank you, Doug. Thanks for the report on that. The budget, state budget, George, did you have anything to?
No, the governor cut some projects out. I don't have a complete list of them because I've been kind of out and about and didn't do my due diligence, I guess. But most of the projects for the Everglades, everything came through pretty much unscathed. So we can probably.
Yeah, he came came out to.
Keep smiling,
yeah.
and, yeah, he's actually moved some positions around from FWC for enforcement, so there's been
That's
some
what he
really
did
good
on
moves
Tuesday.
recently.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he did that. There's a report about the governor, talking about $625 million that he requested for ecosystem work on the Everglades. The state legislature put in $682 million. $417 million of that is mentioned by the district and earmarked for Everglades restoration. A lot of the projects like EA Reservoir will get $107 million. The C44, C43 reservoirs will get money. The only things that didn't happen was mentioned here were he had asked for $100 million for Florida Forever, when there was only $33 million in the budget. $50 million was asked for state parks, only $31 million got in. But $100 million went to Springs and $400 million for other, $40 million for other water supply things. And of course, the algae task force was formed and established that. So hopefully there was a lot of his initiatives originally in January seem to be moving forward at that time. Loathsome, we talked about that in your presentation for the Colonel. There are workshops coming up, and you'll let us know in July, August here when those dates are. And if you can, we'll get them to Barbara, we'll distribute them throughout the coalition.
Mark?
Yep.
The Lieutenant Colonel PowerPoint will be available
Yep.
on the website.
We'll put the PowerPoint on the website. We're moving into coalition reports, updates on local issues and waters. The water quality, as been mentioned, is looking pretty good this past week. Of course,
Mark?
it's been, yeah,
Can I add to that?
except for Jim.
We have
It's not City Bay, it's not doing so.
Well, we have an estuary, which most of you have never heard of. It's called a violet goby. Those eels can take about this long. It buries itself in the mud with its head sticking up and feeds. 2 weeks ago, in the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, they died. First day, they're all up gulping air. Second day, the water was littered with dead ones. 2 days ago, in the South Fork, same thing. Frank did a water quality test down in Loxahatchee and found out the oxygen level is probably half of what it should be.
Right.
So it has to do with water quality, not just looking at it.
Right.
Okay, the
What happens
salinity.
to the biology.
There's other things that go on too.
So if you notice anything like fish kills or fish reports like that, particularly these.
I've been coordinating this with Brad Gilmore
Brad Gilmore.
because this little goby is only indigenous to the St. Lucie estuary and someplace in Louisiana. So it's one of our endangered species.
All right, well, thanks, Jim, for those updates. And like, everybody should be eyes on the water. If you see something unusual, give somebody a call, like the Riverkeeper, myself, or others, to get the county involved. Going into your Riverkeeper update.
For some time, Waterkeeper Florida has been looking for a way to engage women in water quality. We just did a rollout of the Moms for Clean Water. This is in response to our First Lady. At the beginning of this year, First Lady Casey DeSantis made a powerful statement. We feel an obligation as parents, and we feel we should work on behalf of all the parents of this great state to make sure their children have a clean environment and clean water to grow up on. We, the Moms for Clean Water, applaud the DeSantis commitment to restoring and protecting our state's water, but it is clear that our legislature does not share that commitment. This legislative session failed to yield any meaningful protections to our water. Moms for Clean Water represents mothers around the state of Florida calling for meaningful protection of all of our water resources. We believe that our water should be clean and safe enough for our children to fish in, swim in, and drink from. For our next meeting, I propose that we have a discussion and endorse this project. This is a good project. This is putting the wife of the governor at the supper table talking about clean water for children. So this is a statewide thing. The Miami Waterkeeper put the website together. If you go to the website, did you see the things that were just passed out? That was put together by the Suwannee Riverkeeper. He decided to take it one step further so that people can fill these out, take their pictures, send it to the First Lady, put it up on Facebook. So if you go to that website, You can download that thing. If you go to my Facebook page, you can download that piece of paper. You can get the pictures taken. We can send them to the First Lady. And listen, when the First Lady's sitting at the supper table with her husband and her children, and they're talking clean water, this can't be anything but good for us. And if the First Lady is going to listen to any part of the state, it would be our part of the state. They are intimate here. The governor was just here visiting Mark. The First Lady is here pretty often. This is an opportunity for us.
There's an example up there, Mark.
Yes, there, thank you, I forgot to tell you. But that's what it's all about. Just fill something out and get your picture taken. Let's see. Calusa Waterkeeper, Center for Biological Diversity and Waterkeeper Alliance filed a lawsuit that directly affects Lower's and Loesome discussions. Public safety and the deliberate delay in instituting and getting written the Loesome document until after the levee repair project is finished is, in my opinion, nonsense. This is nothing more than a red herring. Sorry, Colonel. Knowing that the lake will be operated under current laws, which means that at no point will the breaching of the levee be of any concern, saying that you cannot write the new manual until the levee is finished is just simply not right. There's no danger to anyone as long as we continue to operate under laws. I propose at the next meeting, we discuss this lawsuit also. Read. I can invite John Pisani, our Calusa Waterkeeper here. If the board sees that as something worthy, he can come here, give you 10 minutes of his time. He's really, really a good speaker and he's bright. We have some workshops coming up about harmful algal bloom, triennial review, wetlands, biosolids, and such. I'll not be here for that. However, Friday I have a board of directors meeting. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to have somebody there with comments and questions and represent. July 5th, I joined Captain Nancy Beaver as we transit to Titusville in her boat as part of the HERA project. We'll be spending 8 days on the water with New Smyrna and the upper Indian River Lagoon around Titusville with Carthage. This project has been active since 2003, and the 70-point physicals that the animals are given add to the totality of our knowledge. Remember, bottlenose dolphins, Tertiop truncatus, are apex predators. As apex predators, dolphins serve as a sentinel species for monitoring ocean and human health. The Harbor Branch HERA project is a multidisciplinary research program designed to assess environmental and anthropogenic stressors affecting the health and long-term viability of the Atlantic bottlenose dolphins, which also yields information about the health of the surrounding ecosystems. They are our canary in the coal mine. Our water is toxic. And marine mammals are affected exactly like human females. It should scare the hell out of everybody to know that we lose most of the firstborn dolphins on our lagoons. If it is happening to our dolphins, it is happening to our mothers. Demand clean water. Nothing else will protect us from the toxins the Florida legislature is deliberately ignoring. Sunday, I'll be speaking at the Unitarian Church in Stewart. Water is life is the subject. Please join us. Thank you very much.
Very good. We're right down to some member comments and announcements. We have some, Jackie?
Well, I just wondered if we knew that we may not see Colonel Reynolds again. Is this going to be your last meeting with us? She's retiring in August, and I just wanted to thank her for all she's done and say that we'll miss you.
Thank you.
Another, we put out into, there was a bill that was introduced by Representative Mass on June 17th. It was about prioritizing revised operations to eliminate sound bacteria toxins or Protect Florida Act. And it was to add in the public health and safety criteria into the schedule. It was similar to the 6700 bill that he had last week. But I'll let Blair kind of introduce this item, or wanted to bring it up at this point in time. So Blair.
But I think it's one of those things where I think all of us understand that the goal is.
We have the mic.
And I think you had a copy of the up on the screen.
Our goal is 0. And I think that's what all of us want. We don't necessarily want 10.5, 11.2, 6.9. We want 0. So how are we gonna get there? That's what we're all here for. So what we've been working with the congressman on is trying to figure out how we get there. And I think you were able to have some flexibility in order to lower the lake this year. But will you be able to do that always? With all that spaghetti that you have, sugar has always been able to get essentially 0 risk. We want 0 risk. And I think what we have to be able to show is human health matters. And that's what this legislation will do. It includes human health into your calculus, into your 6 priorities that you're going to be looking at. We're not going to tell the colonel, lieutenant colonel, whoever's going to succeed you, how to do it. We just want you to do it. And that's what Congressman Matt, the legislation is going to help us by putting human health into the calculus along with ag. Now, if sugar and all that spaghetti mess has been able to get 0 risk and all of that, we should be able to get 0 risk. And that's what the legislation is about. The resolution from the board, we voted. We want to make it available for you guys to be able to vote. And it's basically in support of the new Protect HR 3324 to include human health as one of the overlaying priorities when it comes to managing the lake.
So we had this resolution that was supporting this legislation and would put out in the Force newsletter this week, so we
Point of
can
order.
bring that up. I'm
Point of
sorry.
order.
Yes, sir.
We had on HR 6700, we had a last minute vote. I wrote a letter to the board and I said, we're supposed to be a technical organization. A technical organization is supposed to have a process where you put out this ahead and you ask the membership to comment on it before you bring it up for a vote. So what have we done again? We just bring it up at the last minute, not to say that we object to this, but we should have a reasonable period of time to look at all resolutions that are going to be voted on at the day of the meeting. This is a normal technical process. We are just, what kind of an organization do we want to be? Are we just a sensational organization which just goes along and makes last minute decisions? Or do we want to be a thoughtful organization that has a chance to look at any kind of resolution or bill coming out and give the membership a chance to respond? So I am putting a motion that we have not following process here, and that we delay this until you, the board, put this out to the membership for comment, and then we can vote on it.
I second that.
So we have a motion on the floor and a second to delay any kind of vote on this or other resolution issues until it goes out and has enough time for the membership. Do I hear any other discussion on that? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think it's important because I know some of our organizations, we have to contact the people on our board and get a vote
That's
before
my
we
problem.
vote for something important, so
Right.
just to put
Okay,
that
good,
in, yeah.
good point. And the way the bylaws are written up is that the board can, discuss and work on resolutions has to pass by 2/3, but to have a public pronouncement or ratification, it also has to come to the full body for also a 2/3 majority vote for ratification before it becomes a public announcement. So in this particular case, if that were, that has to be voted on, but what we're talking about here is this motion is to, let's delay this until the whole group, all the organizations have had a time to look. This is a draft resolution. It was put together by the board to come forward to the meeting today, so that's what's going on now.
Now, we put a time limit on that delay.
So how long should we need as organizations?
Yeah, just to the next meeting. I mean, I think everyone should be taking responsibility, and if we don't, then they've just not acted.
Does that Fair enough, our next meeting is July 25th, and it'll be scheduled not at 11 a.m., but at 6 p.m. We're doing it here in the room here, because we were able to get that. So everybody understand that, it's clear? So we have a quorum, we go ahead and take a vote on that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. So one or two opposed, but it sounded like a majority vote for delaying this particular vote on this case. And if you want to find out more, please contact either members of the board or Blair or the congressman in this case about the particular writing of this and follow it as it goes through being introduced. It's already been introduced, it'll go to committees and get other sponsorship on that too. So, all right, any other member comments or any thoughts? We have Sherry and somebody else. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, just very briefly, this is something that Dr. Gilmore and I have, and Marty have talked about extensively, and I saw that it was correctly identified in Blair's bill, and that it is cyanobacteria. Blue-green algae is the misnomer that's used for cyanobacteria. And so when we talk about killing blue-green algae, what Dr. Gilmore's real big concern is, then you might try to then kill algae, which is at the base of the food chain, is what grows on seagrass. So I really heartily recommend that we call it what it is.
Yeah.
Now, there is algae growth in other parts of our system that can be a problem, but for here, it's cyanobacteria.
Thanks. And on that note, the blue-green algae task force was assembled. There are 5 members on that task group, University of Florida, Wendy Graham and others. So their second meeting is being hosted by DEP on July 1st, that's Monday, from 9 to 4. And this is a posting about, I think we have this on our website too, about this webinar. So even if you can't attend, you can click on it and watch that task force. They had one meeting already. Some of us went there, some of us looked at it. It's good that there's a task force that's going to address this issue. But more than just kind of task it and study it some more, we need to get on them about notification about where it is, how much is there, how toxic is it, because all those past times when we've gotten those warnings out here, it's been a really hardship for all of us in the community to determine whether water's safe or not. And we don't want, this kind of water to be, we need healthy conditions.
Mark, there are protocols too. In other words, DEP has they have like 6 protocols for testing algae, blue-green algae or whatever. And
Yeah.
the last series of tests they ran didn't meet their own protocols for blue-green algae, all last summer.
And also, EPA also set a standard in EPA's mind. You heard us talk about the World Health Organization standard of above 10 micrograms per liter. Now EPA set 8 micrograms per liter as that standard. And it's been discussed and talked about, and even though the state hasn't adopted any standard yet, I think they're going to be pressed to do so. And it's up to us to press them to make sure that that standard is not only implemented, but tested and then transmitted forward. Thank you all. One or two more. Real quick, another wrap up.
Is that in the West Coast, Mark, that meeting? Where's that meeting at?
Yeah, it's West Coast.
In West Coast, yeah,
It's
Fort
West
Myers.
Coast.
Fort Myers.
It's in Lee County School Board in Fort Myers.
The Toxic Trail Run Ride
Oh, yes,
this
Toxic
weekend.
Trail Run.
So, I mean, I'm doing it. I think Pandora might be in my basket. But I don't know how it goes, but I think we go down Ocean Boulevard and then end up at the beach.
Yeah, so it starts in Fort Mayaca at 6 a.m. and.
I think it's 5:30.
Okay, 5:30 a.m. Starts in Fort Mayaca, comes all the way down to Stewart Beach.
Yeah.
And it ends at Stewart Beach. So if you're along the way on the route, please encourage those runners, bikers, anybody traveling, hand them a glass of water, something to hydrate, okay? And watch the heat, it's very hot out there, so be good. Thank you all for coming today. Let's stop the video.
He was late.
Oh, okay.
I've got the,
We'll get a picture.
okay, good. Okay.